It's finally time.
13 years ago, I came across a guy on YouTube showing off his new PC setup. I was intrigued by all the flashy lights and fascinating computer components, but didn't understand any of the jargon he was using to describe his machine. What's a CPU? What does core count mean, and how does it improve performance? Do RGB lights add FPS to your games? I spent hours as a 12-year-old scrolling through sites like CyberPower PC and iBuyPower, trying to decipher how each motherboard was different from the last, and building out insanely priced PCs to settle my hunger to own one of my own. Eventually, I came across this guy, and he really set me on my path. Once I learned what the parts of a computer did, I wanted to take the next step and learn how to actually design computer components. I did research projects in early high school about computers, and eventually for my senior project shadowed an electrical engineer. Fast forward another 4 years, and I graduated with a degree in computer engineering.
Joseph Guzzo.
Upon graduation, armed with only very basic knowledge I have never used in my day-to-day, I was faced with a new problem: money. Or, at the very least, my willingness to spend it. Finally, now 2.5 years into my career, I've pulled the trigger on my PC, and oh boy am I happy with the results. It is most definitely not an all-out build. There are areas where I could have gone bigger, but the goal is to be able to play games and record high-quality gameplay at 1440p at high or ultra.
What the fuck? There's no guide. Oh lord.
So let's get into the specs. The newly opened Silicon Valley Micro Center was having a bundle deal for AMD's Ryzen 9 9900X processor and the MSI Pro X870EP motherboard. Though the motherboard by itself was more expensive than the Gigabyte one I was originally going to get, because of the bundle, I ended up saving about $200 and got a better platform. I also could have gone with an X3D processor, but I wanted that slight productivity edge. OBS has been running like a dream compared to my old laptop. The motherboard tension arm had way more tension than I was expecting. On the user guide, it was on the box. Next, for RAM, I was fortunate enough to have the foresight to buy my kit back in October when prices were only mildly high. I went with a 64 gig DDR5 kit from Team Group running at 6400 megahertz. Horrifying. I paid $250 at Micro Center, and today that same kit costs about $750. I will say nothing else on this subject. Moving on to storage, which is also more expensive today than what I paid, I picked up the Samsung 9100 Pro PCIe 5.0 NVMe drive. So far, it's been wickedly fast. Also couldn't quite figure out the NVMe drive mount on the motherboard.
Oh fuck.
It's only a terabyte, but I'm not too worried about filling it up.
Haha.
For cooling, I went with a Thermalright Frozen Note 360mm liquid cooler. Instead of using the fans it came with, I bought 6 matching Thermalright RGB fans. This was probably the most difficult part of the build.
Oh, it came with fucking thermal paste. God damn it.
The Height Y40 and its vertical GPU mount are perhaps the stars of the show here. I have loved this case since it was released, and building in it was pretty easy.
Fuck. God damn it.
Not that I had anything to compare it to, but I didn't run into any issues during the build.
Oh, there are standoffs in here already. Let's go.
The power supply was nothing fancy. I went with Corsair's RM750E. It does the job, however there is a slight constant coil whine to be aware of. Finally, I went with the Nvidia RTX 5070. Could I have gone with the Ti? Probably. But I got this MSI Gaming Trio model for pretty close to retail, and honestly, I don't play many PC games that require a hugely beefy graphics card. Again, 1440p at high has been going just fine.
This is an Nvidia graphics card from 2002. This is from today. Ooh. Oh. Okay.
Anyway, I'll throw up the Geekbench scores if anyone was interested. These were on par with the others posted on the site, so I'm happy. I haven't done any overclocking yet, but that might be a future trial. The RGB cable covers I added to the GPU and the 24-pin connector on the motherboard look great, but they were tough to get seated just right, so I don't know that I'd do them again.
Alright. Okay, got it in. Holy shit, that was difficult.
Cables have been managed. Looking pretty good so far. She has been moved to the desk.
Should post on that monitor. I hope so. Ooh! Shit's spinning. Maybe. Alright, well I'm getting nothing on the monitor, but it is on. Oh! 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 Okay, so immediate issues I see. These aren't lit up. Hey! Hey! Okay, we got the RAM. We got storage. We got the fans. CPU. I don't see a GPU. I guess the GPU works because the monitor is plugged into the GPU. That would make sense. Okay, now that we know that this posts, I'm going to fix those fans and probably clean up the cable management, and then we'll put it back on the desk.
Yeah. So, got the fans to work. Added my fancy RGB cables. Looking pretty freaking good. Alright, I'm at least mildly happy with this. The back panel fits on, so that's all that really matters.
Oh, I can't get it. Hold on. Ah.
Also on the desk are 3 MSI 1440p 180Hz monitors. I've had these for a few years now and haven't had any issues with them. For peripherals, first I have the Razer Basilisk V3. I had the V2 and the wheel started spazzing out on me after about 3 years, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. The Logitech MX Master 3S was a huge upgrade from the V1 and I've been loving it so far. The Razer Black Widow V4 Mini Hyperspeed Wireless is a great keyboard. I like that it doesn't take up too much space and can connect to 3 devices with Bluetooth. However, their 200-hour battery life claim seems to be slightly false. I sent my first one back and got another, but the issue persisted. It gets through a week or so, but it is definitely not the 200-hour battery life promised. I use an MXL 990 plugged into the Elgato Wave XLR for audio, and finally I use the Audio-Technica ATH M50X for everything because buying a gaming headset is stupid. Also, here's a Vertigo shot that I spent way too long trying to get and wanted people to see even though I wasn't sure where to put it in the video. Alright, bye!